Welcome to Competency 14 Practice Quiz, Part 1 of 3. In this video, we will work with practice quiz questions. Number 1. Point A is located at -1, 6, and point B is located at 5, 0. Using the translation vector 3i plus 4j, what are the coordinates of the image of the midpoint of AB? Okay, well, you can draw this out. However, this is very simple in the respect that numerically, as far as vectors, it isn't tough. And we will check it on our calculator. The first thing we need to do is find the midpoint. Well, for that, okay, let me actually try to draw a straight line. For that, I show it in vector form. So we have -1, okay? And then we add that to 5. What that does is it gives us an accurate number to divide by 2, okay? And if you sketch this out, you'll see that it comes out correctly. And then we have 6 minus or plus the 0, okay? And then we divide that by 2. Because what we're doing is we have the distance from 0 to 6, that is all positive values, and then we divide that. And now, what are we going to do to that? We will add that to our vector, our translation vector, which is -3 and 4. -3, 4. Okay. This will give us, we can actually just write this out and come to a conclusion. Okay, -1 plus 5 is 4. Okay, so we have 4 divided by 2. Well, that's 2. And then if we add -3, we're subtracting by 3. And then we have 6 divided by 2. That's 3. And we add that to 4. We will come out with 2 minus 3 is -1, and 3 plus 4 is 7. And that's actually correct. In all honesty, I think the best way to do that is to sketch it out or do it numerically the way I have. I just happen to use the numerical method. Of course, I sketch it out also, but because I've taken linear algebra and this is something we did a lot of, so I'm used to that. Okay, notice we didn't have to use our calculator. I mean, we could have, but I don't know if it would have been a benefit. Okay, number 2. Oh, this is just knowing properties. So let's look at this. Which one of the following diagrams illustrates a reflection of ABC to its image A prime, B prime, C prime, one triangle, to the image, okay, over the line L1. Okay, L sub 1. All right, well, all the lines are labeled, but what we need to know is it a reflection or a translation? Is it sliding or gliding? What is it doing? Well, this A, that can't be it. Because here's the telltale sign. You can see that a vector just went from one to the next, okay? So we had a translation vector used in those, so A won't work. Now B, if that reflected over, this would be labeled C, and it would coincide, but look how A doesn't end up here. It should have a straight line vector, so that can't be it. So let's look at, no, that was C, A, B, C. Let's look at B. If it reflected, it would reflect straight this way. Each of these points would reflect because you have to have a translation vector. We'd have symmetry over the line, so that won't work. So let's look at D. Okay, even if we ignore their special notation, their notation is a little different. It doesn't matter because we have a straight vector that goes to each of your primes and it directly reflects. So D has to be our option. Number 3, a glide reflection is done from the point V, which is located at 3, 7, to the point V prime as follows. The translation vector to get to the point V prime is 8i minus j. The V prime is reflected across the line y equals negative x to get to the point V double prime. What are the coordinates of V double prime? Okay, what are we doing here? Well, first we have 2 steps. So let's go through these 2 steps numerically and see if what we come to, okay? Rather than trying to sketch it out, right? So we have 3, 7 plus 8 minus 1. Okay, this gives us 11 and 6 as our vector. Now that's just step 1. Okay, well, that tells me that option C is incorrect because we're not using the identity vector. Next, it's saying that we're going over the line y equals negative x. So that tells me that we will have that 11 and 6 will trade places and we'll have a negative, I believe, on 6. So let's go through that process. Okay. So that means that we will have, if you remember, you're going to have a 1 here and a 1 here. One of those ones, oh, both of those will be negative. Yes, that is correct because we're going over the line created by negative x, okay? And then we multiply that to 11 and 6, okay? Instead of penciling that out, let's actually use our calculator. Probably a better idea, okay? We have second matrix. Okay, remember to edit. We have to double check what our 2 by 2 is. And it is not totally correct. Let's see. All the cells are ready, except for the first column bottom. And that needs to be -1. So let's go ahead and enter. Okay, now we have matrix A correct. We back out. Now we need, remember, this is A and that'll be B. So second matrix, go to edit, but go down to B, press enter, and keep entering until we can, yes, we have 11, enter, and then 6, enter. Okay, now we are correct. Okay, so second, you know what? I'm going to do something. Look, I'm going to undo my second. Let's be crafty. We need A times B. I'm going to go up in my calculator and look at there. I had just used A times B. So if I enter, it comes down for me. Enter again. And there you go. Okay. And yes, it did flip and I was incorrect in that they need to change places, the X and Y, and both are negative. Okay. That means that we have option A. Okay. Great. All right, let's look at number 4. Number 4 says The point R prime, which is located at 4, 2, is the result of a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation of the point R about the origin. What are the coordinates of R? Okay, this is how you handle this. If they gave us the answer, that would be, we have 4 and 2. That's the prime. So we don't know what we started out with, okay? But we do know that this matrix was the counterclockwise matrix. So if we want to find this answer for X and Y, this is what we do. We need to use the matrix that goes the other direction. So we need the clockwise. We need to change our directions. And that happens to be, if you have your table, we know that we have a 1 here and a 1 here, but this one will be negative. Now, you will have to either make an effort to use these enough to memorize them or sit and draw it out. Something to help yourself remember it. I have various ways of remembering. Okay. Now, what do? We need to multiply that and we'll get the correct thing. Now, you can sit and do that right now on your own. And I see that we have 0 plus 2. So I see 2 and negative 4, just by multiplying each element out. Okay, but let's double check that on the calculator. Okay, all right, second matrix. Let's go over to edit. And what do we need? We need to change this cell here to +1. Okay, so enter. I'm just gonna, well, let's enter and get it over there. There we go. Okay, now double check we're correct. So our A is now correct. Now back out and go back to second matrix, go back to edit, but this time you're editing B. And we need 4 and 2. 4, 2. 4 inner, 2 inner, and that is correct. Now, again, we are multiplying A times B. So go up and snag that A times B and press enter again. And as you see, just by doing it by hand, I was correct. And that is 2. That's option A. Okay. Now, number 5. The pentagon ABCDE is similar to pentagon FGHJK. The scale factor is 3/4. If JK equals 48, what is the value of DE? Okay, you can draw a picture if you just absolutely have to, but this is a little bit better way to look at it. Okay, JK is last, and you know that distance is 48. DE, see how it's also at the end, notation wise, and notations, a properly written test, a proper textbook. In fact, I have yet to see a mistake. If it isn't in order for each similar item, because they are, as we say, similar. If they are not written in that naming it properly, then they will tell you and give you a drawing or they're very specific. Okay, that being said, if we go from this ABC, we're going to go from ABC to this FGJK. That means basically we will have the larger and then our scale factor of 3/4 creates the smaller shape because this scale factor will decrease the size the actual sides, the length of the sides will be decreased by 1/4. Okay. So what does that tell me? That tells me that I can take the scale factor of 3/4 and I can set it equal to a proportion. Well, I know that 48 will be the smaller length. So I'll put it with the 3. Oh, excuse me. I say 3 and write 3. That should associate with 48. And then we don't know the larger size of DE. Now, if we solve that algebraically, we have 3x equals 4 times 48. Now let's divide both sides by 3. And that will give us, I'm putting all that in the calculator. So 4 times 48, press enter, divide by 3. Yes. And 64. D is the option. Okay, this is the last question in this first part 1 of Competency 14 quiz questions. Don't forget, share us, like us, and subscribe. And please watch the next video in this series.